Unlock your potential. Launching a digital course while juggling family. The coffee had gone cold again. Another morning balancing the noise of the house and the quiet question she kept avoiding. Can I really build something of my own? She scrolled through her phone while her daughter colored at the table, and every post seemed to whisper the same thing. Other people were doing it. Other moms were creating, teaching, earning. Why not her? But then came the guilt. The kind that sits heavy in your chest and asks if wanting more means you're somehow giving less. As if ambition and motherhood couldn't share the same space. She wasn't chasing millions, just freedom. The kind that fits between nap times and school pickups. The kind that doesn't require permission slips or explanations to anyone but herself. For weeks, the idea had been circling, a digital course, something she actually knew how to do, something that had helped her, that could help others. But every time she thought about starting, the doubts got louder. Who would listen to her? What made her qualified? And how on earth would she find the time when laundry alone felt like a full-time job? But the idea didn't come from a business book. It came from the mess on her kitchen table. A scribbled list of skills she'd almost forgotten she had. Things she'd learned through necessity, through survival, through years of quietly figuring it out. Meal planning that actually worked. Budget strategies that didn't feel restrictive. Organizing chaos into something manageable. Small things, until she realized how many people were searching for exactly that. What would you have done in her place? She opened her laptop that night after bedtime, the house finally still, and for the first time in months, she didn't scroll. She typed. She wrote down what she knew. Not perfectly, not professionally, just honestly. According to recent studies, the online learning market has grown exponentially, with millions of people seeking flexible, accessible education they can fit into their own lives. And stay-at-home moms are leading a significant portion of this movement, creating courses from lived experience, not just theory. It wasn't about being an expert. It was about being a few steps ahead and willing to share the path. She almost gave up, until one message changed everything. It came from a friend she hadn't spoken to in years. I saw you posted about budgeting tips. Do you do coaching? I'd pay for that. 7 words that shifted something inside her. Maybe this wasn't as impossible as it felt, but starting still felt overwhelming. The technology alone seemed like a foreign language. Platforms, video editing, landing pages, email lists, terms that made her want to close the laptop and walk away. Part of her still felt guilty for wanting more, as if ambition had to disappear when motherhood began, as if building something meant she was neglecting what mattered most. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. You're not a real teacher. You don't have credentials. Who are you to charge money for this? She sat there, staring at the blank screen, the cursor blinking like it was waiting for her to decide who she wanted to be. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress. It looks like staying in the discomfort long enough to see what's on the other side. She chose to stay. She started small, ridiculously small, not a full course, just a free guide. 3 pages of meal planning templates she'd been using for years. She shared it in a parenting group online, half expecting nothing. 20 downloads in the first hour, then 50. Then messages started coming in. Thank yous, questions, requests for more. She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. The next step was harder. Creating actual video content meant being visible, being vulnerable. Recording herself felt awkward, unnatural. Her voice sounded strange played back, and she noticed every imperfection. But she remembered something her own mother once said, "People don't need perfect, they need real." So she kept the stumbles, the pauses, the moments where she forgot what she was saying and laughed at herself. She filmed during nap time. Her dining room transformed into a makeshift studio. A ring light she'd borrowed, her phone propped on a stack of books. The background wasn't Instagram-worthy, but it was honest. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. The technical side was a learning curve. Platforms like Teachable and Kajabi seemed built for people who spoke fluent internet, not for someone who still asked her kids for help with her phone. But she learned. YouTube tutorials became her teachers. She watched them late at night, notebook beside her, rewinding when she didn't understand. Slowly, the pieces started fitting together. What helped me the most wasn't just finding the right course platform. It was realizing that I didn't need permission to start small. I tested a few tools before finding what truly worked, and honestly, it changed everything. Canva became her design studio. She created workbooks, checklists, graphics that made her content feel professional without requiring a degree in graphic design. Each template she discovered felt like unlocking a new level of confidence. This isn't a promotion, just something that made my path a little lighter. I'll leave the link below if you want to explore it. Her first course was ready 3 months after that cold coffee morning. 6 modules, 12 videos, a workbook, lifetime access for $47. She stared at the publish button for 10 minutes before pressing it. Nothing happened at first. No flood of students, no overnight success story. Just the quiet hum of the house and her wondering if anyone would ever click. Then one sale. Then another. By the end of the first week, 11 people had enrolled. 11 strangers trusted her enough to invest in what she'd created. The feeling was surreal. Validation and responsibility wrapped together. Maybe success just wasn't meant for someone like her. That's what she'd thought. But here was proof otherwise, small and growing, showing up in her inbox, one enrollment notification at a time. The reviews started coming in. This actually helped. Finally, something practical. I wish I'd found this sooner. Each one felt like permission to keep going. She reinvested every dollar back into the business. Better equipment, a simple website, ads that reached people beyond her immediate network. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to see how far this could go. Research shows that digital course creators who focus on specific underserved niches often outperform generalists, not because they know more, but because they understand their audience deeply. She was living proof of that principle. Her course wasn't about business theory or hustle culture. It was about real life, the kind she was living, the kind her students were living. That connection became her greatest asset. But it wasn't all smooth. There were weeks when tech issues made her want to quit, when a negative review stung more than 10 positive ones uplifted her, when balancing customer questions with actual motherhood felt impossible. She learned to set boundaries. Office hours, even though her office was a corner of the bedroom. Response windows for emails. Permission to not be available every second of every day. What would you do when the balance tips too far? She discovered something unexpected along the way. The course wasn't just changing her students' lives, it was changing hers. Not because of the income, though, that helped, but because of the identity shift. She was no longer just someone's mom, someone's partner. She was also a creator, a teacher, a business owner. Those roles could coexist. They could even strengthen each other. Her kids started noticing. "What are you working on, Mom?" They saw her building something from nothing, saw persistence and creativity in action. That lesson felt more valuable than any she could teach through words alone. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. What if this is just luck? What if it doesn't last? She had to learn to sit with uncertainty, to build anyway. By month 6, she'd served over 200 students. Some left glowing testimonials. Others quietly implemented what they'd learned and moved on. Both felt like success. She expanded. A second course, then a membership community. Each edition felt like a risk, but calculated ones. Risks she chose, not ones forced upon her by circumstance. The income wasn't life-changing overnight, but it was consistent. Enough to contribute meaningfully. Enough to feel the weight of financial stress lighten slightly. Enough to prove this wasn't just a hobby. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress. It looks like staying. Staying consistent when results are slow. Staying committed when motivation fades. Staying aligned with why you started. She thought about that cold coffee morning often. How close she'd come to not starting. How easy it would have been to stay in the safety of not trying. The transformation wasn't dramatic. There was no moment where everything clicked into place. Just gradual shifts. More confidence, less doubt. More clarity, less chaos. More ownership of her own potential. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. She started receiving messages from her students that went beyond the course content. "You inspired me to start my own thing. If you can do it, maybe I can too." She'd accidentally become the proof someone else needed. That responsibility felt heavy and beautiful at once. She wasn't just teaching meal planning or budgeting anymore. She was modeling what was possible when you stop waiting for permission. The path wasn't linear. Some months were stronger than others. Some launches exceeded expectations while others fell flat. She learned that sustainability mattered more than viral moments. What she loved most wasn't the business itself. It was the autonomy. The ability to shape her days, to say yes to school pickup without guilt, to work when her brain was sharpest instead of when someone else's clock demanded it. She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. Digital courses aren't magic. They're work, real work that requires showing up consistently, learning constantly, and evolving with your audience. But they're also accessible in a way traditional businesses often aren't. No inventory, no storefront, no geographical limits, just knowledge, structure, and the willingness to be seen as someone still figuring it out. When she poured her coffee the next morning, it was still hot, because this time she wasn't rushing. She was building something that fit her life instead of forcing her life to fit someone else's model. Building proof that ambition and motherhood aren't opposing forces, they're complementary ones. Tell us what part of her story resonated with you most and where you're watching from. Your journey might just inspire the next one. This is educational and inspirational content, not financial advice. Every path is different, every timeline unique. But the possibility, that's universal. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.